As your product-based business grows and you're looking to expand your order quantities and maybe even the quality of your products, moving your production to China is a smart move. There's no secret that unit costs in China are lower than the US, and it's the number one reason why stationery businesses get most of their manufacturing done in China. And it's probably the reason why you clicked on this video. But before you make the switch to manufacturing your products in China, there are 6 things that you need to know. And today, I'm going to tell you. Let's dive in. Hey there, I'm Heather Harris, founder of Copper Bottom Design Co., a boutique product development agency that specializes in planner design and getting them manufactured in China. I've been manufacturing products in China for 19 years, so I know a little bit about the topic. My first tip is to get samples. You wouldn't hire a caterer for your wedding if you didn't taste the food first, would you? So, likely, would you hire a manufacturer to make your company's #1 product without testing their quality first? No. You're making a huge investment in your product line and your business, so this is a super important decision. You need to do your homework first. We want the outcome to be nothing less than perfect. Your planners need to be perfect. So I suggest you sample the goods before taking the plunge. Manufacturers will happily send you samples of products they've made in the past for other clients, or they can make a specific sample for you based on the custom specifications that you give them. This is what I like to do. I like them to make a test sample with my specifications. This way, I get to see a sample of exactly what I want my product to look like, which is ideal. There are many different samples you can order along the way of your production journey with a manufacturer, but this first sample that I'm talking about is called a dummy sample. And this is just a plain white sample, no printing, that's made in the size of the planner that you want to get. It has all the little bells and whistles and extras that you want. Maybe there's an elastic band that goes around the cover, the type of coil that you want, all of those things. This initial sample, we're really just testing the quality of the materials and the craftsmanship of this new manufacturer. I have a whole video that details my sampling process, so check that out after this video. It's some information that you also need to know. My next tip is to plan ahead, and this one is huge. It should be the #1 tip. Planning ahead is essential when you're creating planners. Planners have a long lead time. Actually, manufacturing any product takes a lot of time. And based on geography alone, you're shipping your products from China halfway around the world. It's going to take extra time than getting them manufactured in the US. Shipping from China, you can ship to the West Coast in about 3 weeks, and to the East Coast, it takes about 4 weeks. So my estimation of the 4 to 6 weeks gives us enough cushion just in case there's any delays along the way. In addition to the shipping time, we need to allocate time for the actual production process. That usually takes about 4 weeks on its own. And before that, you want to sample things, which could take up to an additional 4 weeks. You want to make sure things are right before you roll into production. So I estimate about 6 months for the entire production process, from the very beginning of ordering those initial dummy samples to delivery at your door. With manufacturing planners, that's your 6-month timeline. But if you need to design the planner beforehand, I would gauge about 3 to 4 months for that to happen. So the entire process can take about 9 months. If you're looking to work with me, we like to start talking with clients about a year before they want to launch their product. If you're creating a calendar year planner, those usually launch in September, which gives you a good 3 to 4 months of sales time before the calendar starts in the planner and it can be used. So send us an email, contact us in September if you're looking to do a calendar year planner. And that time slot fills up really quickly. So if you know for a fact you want to do a calendar year planner, call us ahead of time. For academic planners, those usually launch in May. So contact us in May if you want to do an academic planner. Those usually start around June or July. They're a student planner. So you might even want to get those in April. You have more flexibility with an undated planner because those can launch whenever, but you do want to keep in mind that the whole process will take about 9 months. So make sure you plan ahead. My third tip is once you find a manufacturer, you want to vet them for good ethical practices. We don't know what goes on half a world away, so you want to make sure that they are adhering to the same ethical guidelines that we adhere to in the United States. Again, I made a whole video on this topic and you can watch that next, put it on your list. Basically, to vet a manufacturer, it's pretty simple. You just ask them for one of two things. Either a SMETA audit report, which involves an outside agency going into the manufacturer's warehouse, factory, facility, and doing a bunch of inspections. They inspect for underage workers, making sure that everybody is of age to be working. They inspect for cleanliness, the health and safety guidelines that the facility is adhering to, and they look for overall good business practices. The factory will be given a report where they score them on each of these individual guidelines or parameters, and they give them a report at the end of it. You can ask to see if that factory has one of those reports. And you don't just want to know that they have a report, you want to read the report and make sure they have good marks. Another thing that you can ask for is an SA 8000. And this is a certificate. So this means that they've gone through one of those auditing processes and they've passed. They've gotten great scores that warrants them a certificate. This is ideal. I always ask one of my new potential manufacturers if they can provide me with an SA 8000 report. This is like 100%. You can be sure that they're adhering to great standards and ethical guidelines. Again, I go into so much more detail about this process in one of my videos, so definitely check that out. The fourth thing you need to know is that the minimum order quantities can be high. In order to make it worth it to manufacture in China, you need to order about 1,000 units. Anything under 1,000, it can be expensive to manufacture, and then you add on tariffs and shipping costs. It just doesn't make sense. So printing in China, you need to order at least 1,000 units or higher to get the best price, the most bang for your buck, and make it worthwhile. Number 5 is expect to pay cash. This isn't a scenario where you're gonna whip out your credit card and order something online. Manufacturers require you to make a wire transfer from bank to bank. So you need cash, and this may come into play with planning ahead. You need to know that you have a chunk of cash up front to be able to pay this manufacturer. Typically, they want 50% of the overall total up front, and they need that before they start production. They use that to purchase all the materials and pay their workers as they're getting things going. The balance is usually due before the items ship. So before you get those items in hand, you're paying them all the money for the entire service. A little pro tip here is make sure you get some samples of the production run shipped to you for approval before everything goes on the water. I would hate to see you getting a delivery of something that you haven't seen and having there be an error, because then you're wasting time and money shipping the order to you when you could have requested a sample from the production run to approve and make sure everything's perfect before you ship. And inspecting kind of brings me to my last point, where you want to inspect your shipment when you get it. This is the sixth thing you need to know when you're starting to work with a manufacturer in China. Once you get those goods delivered to your door, you want to look at them right away. Don't wait. Don't trust that everything is good and start shipping orders and wait for your customers to come in and complain about an issue. You want to get to the bottom of that issue before your customers even see a product. From my experience, vendors in China are very willing to help you solve problems, replace products, send you something new. They really want you to be happy. If something's missing from your order, they'll send it to you. They're going to make you happy. So make sure you do some spot inspections. If you've ordered like 5,000 planners, I'm not saying you need to inspect every single one of them, but you should kind of go like at random, pull a few random cartons from the shipment, open it up, take 1 to 2 planners out of each carton, look at them, make sure you take them out of their wrapping, take them out of their keepsake box, whatever they're packaged in, flip page by page to make sure everything is okay. This random spot check will give you a gauge on whether or not there might be an overall bigger issue. If you do start to see things that are bad, damaged, wrong, then you're going to want to start inspecting more. But hopefully you'll only see a few or maybe none at all. And don't be upset about how you unpackaged some of your inventory. You can always use those for like samples, marketing images. You can write in them to show tests and pen tests and products in use on Instagram. Those kind of examples in usage are money. Customers love those. And a little side note about like things being wrong in a shipment. It's pretty standard within the industry, and this is manufacturing anywhere in the US, China, Vietnam, anywhere. It's pretty standard that there'll be maybe like 1% to 3% of things wrong in your overall shipment. Things happen. Not everything can be perfect. Do expect there to be one or two things that aren't right. But overall, you want to make sure everything is good and ready to sell and perfect for you to launch this planner into the world. And keep in mind, if there's anything wrong, contact the manufacturer as soon as possible so you can get things fixed. So that was a very brief overview of the 6 things that you need to know before working with a manufacturer in China. Now, like I said, I've been doing this for 19 years. So if you need a little hand holding or want some help as you venture into this kind of scary journey of manufacturing something in a country that you've never been to, hit me up. We're going to be off of our wait list very soon and start accepting new clients. So click the link in the description below and apply to work with us. I cannot wait to make your planner dreams come true. See you next time.